Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The home stretch. The final hurdle to clear to get the final spot at the Lyon Esport. Step number 6, and don't pay attention to the graphic, I forgot to change the name of the step. Step number 6 is upon us, ladies and gentlemen, and this will be the final hurdle to clear for our man Tween to secure himself a spot at the Lyon Esport playoffs at the 28th of February 2020. Hello everybody, I am Thomas Mangozi, aka GGeek, and I will be your host for the 6th and final step of the TrackMania Grand League. We had a pretty stonking step last week with our man Tween scoring 67 points and securing 2nd place in that very step, and bouncing and propping himself up from 8th to 5th place in the standings. But the battle is far from over. We're gonna see in the overall ranking there's still gonna be a pretty good fight for the final top 4 playoff spots at the Lyon Esports playoffs. So, before we get into that though, you get the traditional recap of what the TMGL is all about, the format, etc. For those of you who are pretty much new to the stream and don't know what TrackMania Grand League is, here is what it is all about. So, 16 of the best players in the world are going to duke it out for the title of TrackMania Grand League Champion. And for that, the title is divided into 2 phases. First of all, the final step of the regular season. The regular season is comprised of 6 steps played over the course of 6 weeks. At the end of the 6 steps, the top 8 of the season will qualify for the Lyon Esport playoffs at the end of the month in 2020. And while the other top 8s, the bottom 8, will actually have to battle it out against the top 8 of the Open Grand League in the combined match on March the 8th. To retain their spots in the next season Grand League, which will happen in the summer. In terms of format, the match is going to be played in Champions mode. 6 maps will be played in this step, with 6 laps played per map. The first 3 maps are free to score for everyone, which I like to call get out of jail free cards, and everybody will have to capitalize on it to score as much points as possible. The money time will happen when we get to maps 4, 5, and 6. If one player has the bad luck to finish outside of the top 8 on one of these maps alone, he will lose all of the points that he has accumulated so far and only score the points paying for this particular placement on his map. Now that we got that out of the way, let's actually take a look at the overall ranking after step number 5. Papu having taken the lead with 246 points in first place, the Gamer's Origin player having scored an astonishing 104 points in step number 5, having won the step comfortably from Tween in 2nd place with 67 points. It must be noted that, he also benefited from the circumstance that Carl Jr., currently in 2nd place in the standings from Team Solary, was not able to attend due to internet problems. Carl Jr., as we said, 2nd place in the standings with 193 points. The Canadian driver was not able to make it to last week's step because of an internet issue, and he will not be able to make it to this step as well, this time being on a family bereavement. So that is an early call on the season for Carl Jr. Then Riolu, the man from North of DNB, had pretty much a step to be forgotten in his words on Twitter last week, and he only scored 3 points over the course of step number 5. He currently sits in 3rd place with 159 points. Scrappy, the Orgless driver from Belgium, sits currently in 4th place with 143 points and backed 53 points on step number 5, finishing in 4th place in that step. Then we find our man Tween for the Pittsburgh Nice. 67 points and 2nd place in the step propelled him to 5th place in the standings with 129 points. But as you can see, the battle for the top 5 to 8 is pretty close. 5 points behind Tween, we find Aurel in 6th place with 124 points, winner of the final map last week on StarCase, and 3rd place overall in step number 5. Then we find Kappa, the Beta League season champion, the Beta Season Grand League champion, and 2018 TrackMania World Champion, currently sitting in P7 with 150 points, only 14 points away from Tween. Then in 8th place, we're gonna find the man of the hot seat, the man who had a pretty lackluster step last week, and it is Spam from Team Diffuse Kits, currently sitting in 8th place with 91 points. And then the nearest contender to Bren and potentially nearest contender to Spam, and potentially the troublemaker is Bren, the French player from Team Lunary, currently playing over in Australia, currently sitting in 9th with 81 points. Pretty interesting circumstances that I will get to a little bit later for this particular step. Then we find Matt in 10th place, the Brazilian driver for Space Station Gaming, currently sits on a 59-point tally. Then completing the top 16, we find Pack in 11th place for Molotovs and Marshmallows with 50 points, Masta 12th for Berlin International Gaming with 39 points, Coco from Team Oserve 13th with 33 points. Then we find Revolution with 31 points in 14th place. Then Marcin from Team Devils won 15th place with 15th place with 24 points. Not able to attend, it seems as though this week, although we'll have to see. And finally, Rollin rounding out the standings in last place with 13 points. So, as I said, pretty interesting circumstances because Carl Jr. will not be able to attend because of a family bereavement, and Brad is currently playing on his laptop because apparently his building has had a power outage in part of the building. It seems as though it's only in the part of the building where he lives, so he's currently playing on the laptop with a power cord pulled from the corridor where the power is still going. There is actually a photo of it on Twitter if you look at his Twitter feed. And also there's a final circumstance to say. Tempest Storm Ciara is currently sweeping through Europe, and that could potentially cause problems for various players in this particular in Europe. I'm talking about Riolu, I'm talking about Scrappy, I'm talking about people like Aurel, people who are actually in the thick of the storm, and especially myself. I am casting in the middle of the storm right now. There's plenty of wind here where I live, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. Anyways, with the standings out of the way, let's actually take a look at the map order for step number 6. So, map 1 is going to be StarCase, the final map of last week, where we saw Tween getting tantalizingly close to actually being eliminated on the spot and losing all the 60 points he accumulated. Then on second map, we're going to have Zeppelin from MD Point, the map that claimed the big point scorers such as Riolu, Spam, and Massa on step number 5. Then in map 3 is going to be FreeSpirit, the map characterized by one of the easiest identities so far in the Grand League, comprising of an engine killer, a slide around a gap, a snow slide around a pole, and another booster to go uphill. Then we're gonna get into the new batch of maps, which are gonna be the money time. The map number 4 is going to be ControlTower, a map characterized by a jump that is currently characterized by multiple pathways. There is actually a top pathway, a mid pathway, etc. And here the keys to actually get to the fastest way is going to be airtime control, speed judgment, and jump distance judgment. Then we're going to find ChillShake by Firestorm, which is going to be the final map of the step to actually feature the no grip identity. And this one is particular as well because it also features bumps in it that you will have to navigate in a pretty particular way. And the final map of it all is going to be SkyEuro, with one of the more boring identities, I could say. That's all I can say, at least on my part. It is actually comprising of an uphill slalom around holes with an engine killer and a booster preceding it. So the keys will be timing of steering inputs and judging the speed correctly in order to get through there as fast as possible. So we are currently in the server. We're going to get started in less than 8 minutes. As far as we can see, it is 1952 in Central European time. That will be 8 to 2 over in America. So yeah, we're gonna get started really soon here. So what we're gonna do, because I got a little bit of a dry throat from that pre-show, I'm gonna take a quick break from 1 to 2 minutes. I'm gonna rehydrate myself, re-lubricate my throat a little bit, and yeah, we will be right back after this. Stay with us. Alright, and we're back after taking care of the hydration problem and the rather small issue, quote-unquote, of the wrong step being displayed on the graphics. Now, we are back up in full swing, and we're now less than 5 minutes away from the start of step number 6. So, we're currently in the server. We're going to jump in the game in a few seconds. But you'll notice that there's quite a bit of a change in graphical input, because I've actually managed to get a few assets to, cobbled together thanks to the help of mainly Case, who was kind enough to actually share some of the assets that I would potentially integrate, including the sponsors, which I want to give a shout out to: HyperX, Smile Direct Love, and Sheets, which are the sponsors for the Pittsburgh Knights. And I would like to thank them once again for giving me the opportunity of casting the TrackMania Grand League. It is a competition that I really like. I've only followed the season currently. I didn't follow the beta season, but I am enjoying every single second of action that comes out of this league. So, we're gonna jump into the game scene right now. People are joining the server. People are getting themselves trained. Let's actually put the sound of the game a little bit. There we go. Now we're gonna hear the cars churning out. Sorry for that, my throat is kind of getting clogged up from time to time. But anyways, we are currently on the server. Now we see that pretty much everyone who we expect is currently joining. So Scrappy, Massa, Rolling, Coco, Kappa, Revo, Matt, Aurel, Spam, Papu, Riolu, Bren, Pack, Tween, and that's pretty much it. The two other slots you see are actually spectators. So we got Marius89 casting for Revolution, we got Beef casting for, who's actually the coach for Scrappy. It seems as though Marcin had pulled the Marcin again. It seems as though he might not be able to make it. I might actually check on Twitter if there is anything regarding the regarding the Polish player. It seems as though we haven't had any posts so far. Yeah, I would expect that he's currently running into trouble, and he's not able to actually make it to the step, unfortunately. That's the third time in this particular competition that Marcin has had a few issues. It's really unfortunate for a competitor like that to be actually taken down on a technicality. It's all we can say. But yeah, you can going back onto the our man Tween, you can actually see the word being spammed. Go Tween, and yes, go Tween. You can go for Go Tween in chat to actually show him your support in the stream and give him a little heart. So far, we don't have any hearts in here. Let's see. Yes, we do have some hearts in here. Remember, this is due to the proportion of everything, of every vote that you actually give him. So we're gonna get started in 2 minutes time. Yes, 2 minutes and 10 seconds to be exactly precise. And yes, we're just gonna be waiting for the server to start up and to actually get this step started. Oh, it seems as though Massa had a bit of an internet issue. Now he is back in the server. I just saw that in Discord. I was like, oh wow, are we gonna get another DNS this step? And it seems as though it won't be the case, as Massa is able to reconnect just in time. Really sorry for the costs. Trying to cast through a bunch of different circumstances, and I hope you can actually bear with me for this particular day. Hello Yonix, hope you're having a good day, hope you're having a good night, and hope you will enjoy the cast as much as I will enjoy doing it. So then, 1 minute remaining before the start of the step. Now is a good chance to actually get a glance back at the league ranking. Papu currently leading the overall ranking with 246 points. Second place for Carl Jr. with 194 points. He actually got a point despite not being able to turn up, so the graphics that was shown before is a little bit useless. And Riolu in third place with 159. Fourth place for Scrappy with 143. Fifth is Tween with 129, but 5 points behind. In sixth place we find Aurel with 124. Kappa then 11 points, then 9 points behind Aurel with 115 in seventh place. And then Spam currently on the hot seat with 91 points. And then Bran, the closest challenger, is just 10 points away from getting his ticket to the Lyon Esport playoffs. And yes, that will be one of the battles to actually watch. Battles for 5th to 8th place. Those places are going to be really costly really quick, and the drivers know it more than anyone else. As we're about to get started in 3, 2, 1 match starting. Here we go with map number 1, which is going to be StarCase, a map that we saw the previous week was one of the cornerstones of Tween's step. He was tantalizingly close to actually getting dropped out of the top 8, losing the 60 points that he had accumulated in the step and potentially deny him a jump into the leaderboard to potentially secure him a spot in the playoffs. Anyways, let's actually see what this map is all about then, with Massa, currently the driver, currently sitting in 12 points in the overall standings for Berlin International Gaming. The fastest lap of the race so far is held by Pack on lap 6 of set number 5 with a 123.224, map made by Firestorm. First jump 270 kilometers an hour to clear it, then we jump into this small dirt section, followed by a jump over a little hump. 200 kilometers are needed to actually clear the jump pretty much perfectly, then a small dirt turn. And then we're gonna get into the rest of the map pretty shortly, comprising of an underground part right here, which we see all the drivers navigating through on the warm-up. Then we're gonna get into the loop here, thankfully with cam switches. First loop here, then we go into another bowl part, semi-bowl part here. Go up and over and down into the rest of this full speed section as the players attack the second half of the map right now with a pretty high speed drift, 430 kilometers an hour as we saw by Massa, and then a small jump right here on the platform part. Initiate the drift really early for 3 apexes even. Go on to downhill, 260 kilometers an hour in terms of drop speed, then uphill drifts as we see that Scrappy has made a pretty big mistake here. And now onto the identity, 320 kilometers an hour before the jump, then slow down midair, brake midair in order to touch the top of the hill, and then into the first jump, then the second jump with the 2 boosters. Massa failing a little bit. Now you can go for the third jump here if you actually manage to get a good landing, but otherwise you will be forced to go through the safe way. So map number 1, step number 6, about to get underway, and we're going to be spectating with our man Tween. Currently sitting in 5th place with 129 points in the overall rankings. He needs a good step more than anyone else, and except maybe from Spam, who's currently really looking really hot right now. And speaking of Spam, we're currently seeing him in the right group right now, even pulling a little bit in 2nd place along with Bren and Tween in the top 3. So far, everybody remaining in group, but Riolu has made a mistake already, and he's going to drop out of the train that was formed and drop down to P12 as a result. We're going to go back up to Tween, who is actually up into 2nd place, sorry. Papu emerging already in the lead, and we find Spam, Aurel, Revolution, and Riolu battling it out for the top 5 positions. Kappa a little bit further behind, battling it out with Pack. Then we find Scrappy and Massa having a battle of their own. The train is still very much alive at this point. Coco a little bit further behind, but then Riolu, Bren also made a mistake. Mott made a mistake, and he's currently sitting in last place with 3 seconds down on the leader. Rolly made a mistake. So yeah, we're seeing mistakes pretty early on, despite the fact that this map is not really a points-losing map anymore. Anyways, we're gonna soon go to the identity for the first time in this step, and potentially the final time and soon to be the final time in the regular season. Pack currently emerging in the lead, 1/10 of a second in front of Papu and Spam. Papu and Spam battling it out with each other. Now we go into the first jump. Let's see how Tween goes. Tween makes it pretty much perfectly, as does Papu on the second jump. This was the more difficult one, and Tween will actually get it perfectly and cross the line in 1st place as of lap number 1. Tween, Aurel, Pack, Scrappy, and actually you can see that Tween dropped down a little bit on the bubble, and that's going to cause him to drop a few positions to Spam, Scrappy, Aurel, and Massa, dropping from 1st to 5th. But Tween will get the fastest up of the inaugural fastest up of the race so far with the 126.344. Aurel in 1st place. There was the man who actually won this map in step number 5 last week. With a pretty convincing lead as well. He's battling it out with Scrappy, the former Existence driver, currently sitting in 4th place in the standings. Meanwhile, it seems as though Roland is completely out of it, 12.2 seconds down on the leader. Meanwhile, we see that Papu has made a huge mistake, and he's dropped down to 4 seconds down on the leader, currently sitting in 10th place, 2/10 in front of, now a second in front of Ren, but still pretty uncharacteristic from Papu, although it seems as though he did not put as much training effort in this step as in the previous step, so that could potentially explain the pace difference here compared to last week. Meanwhile, Tween currently remaining in 5th place, 1 second behind the leader. Meanwhile, we have a battle between Massa and Spam. Massa currently sitting in 12th place, Spam in 8th place. Massa not having had the best regular season of his life, and he seems as though he's really deceived with himself. Really a lot of potential, a lot of pace for this man, but not able to. Oh, and Tween will turtle it, and he will manage to get back on his wheels, just like a cat will do with his paws. Although that will cost him a few positions indeed and drop him down to 6th place as he gets through the bubble, and drop him down to 7th place as Revolution scoots by him. Scrappy will get the fastest step of the race so far with the 123.626. Currently Tween sitting in P7. Back in P6, then we find Revolution and Massa. Actually, Revolution having a really slow dirt uphill. Same for Massa, and that's going to allow Pack to grab 2 positions just like that with a snap of the finger to move up to 4th place. Meanwhile, in the lead, Scrappy 0.3 of a second in front of Aurel, who is himself 0.9 in front of Spam. Spam looking to score the big points right now. He needs absolutely to score the points. In his words last week, this step for him is do or die, as his playoff ticket is definitely at jeopardy, as is Tween, although pretty much though maybe to a lesser extent than Spam, currently sitting with 5th place. I must actually note on 129 points for the 3rd time. Tween currently sitting in 4th place, 3.4 seconds down on the leader. So far, it seems as though Tween will try to play the more conservative game and just assure the points, even though there are going to be lesser points scored compared to the top paying positions, but he is actually in the right mindset to do it. Currently 10 points, 8 looking so bad to start off their tally, and potentially looking to keep on 3rd and 4th place throughout the first few maps. That could potentially be beneficial, as he will start with a pretty big points tally to his credit, and just will focus on safing those 3 final maps to actually get home with the points. And it seems as though Scrappy has made a mistake and drops down from the lead into 4th place, just behind Tween. Aurel, with the fastest man on track so far, is with a 124.085. Aurel returning to his rightful spot in the lead, 1.6 seconds in front of Spam in 2nd place. Then Spam currently finding himself 1.4 seconds ahead of Tween, who's currently in a battle with Scrappy. 1/10 of a second between the two guys. It seems as though Tween has a slight advantage on the Belgian player. Let's see how he manages to deal with it and potentially find an opportunity to overtake Tween, but it seems as though our man from Slovakia is not having any of this and remaining just in front of Scrappy. And it seems as though we have a pretty safe haven between the top 3 and 4 and Revolution behind, who is currently 1.5 seconds down on Tween and Scrappy. Scrappy and Tween again battling it out really hard. We are only on lap 4. There are still 2 and some laps to go. Scrappy going for the wall bang, and that's not going to be able to pay out for him as Tween re-emerges a little bit in the lead so far. 2 very different strategies, but it seems as though they seem to have been pretty equal so far as they go through the identity for the 4th time. Braking on the hilltop. Tween getting the first jump pretty much perfectly, but Scrappy does it better. Scrappy does it better. He goes for an aggressive line. He's gonna go for the safe strat on the respawn, and he fails. He gets the full stop pick on the pole, and that's gonna allow Tween to move up to 2nd place. Spam has made a mistake. No, he didn't make a mistake. He just simply got overtaken by Tween because he was simply a little bit slower. And yes, that's gonna be Tween up to 2nd place just like that. 3.6 seconds down on Aurel, who is currently in the lead, and the fastest man on track so far with a 123.700 on the penultimate lap of StarCase. So, battle to follow, Tween and Spam. Tween having a little bit of a worse time on the dirt than Spam. Spam getting to being able to cover a little bit of more momentum together. Scrappy currently finding himself in 5th place, 1/10 of a second behind Massa, actually in 6th place, as Massa got Scrappy by, and Papu currently back up to 4th place, 7.2 seconds down on the leader. We're gonna focus in onto the battle for 2nd place, where our man Tween is currently still leading. Meanwhile, Spam. Oh, and actually, Tween actually clinches the wall on the outside. That's really unfortunate for our man. He's gonna drop out of 2nd place and down to 3rd place, and Papu is gonna take advantage of that to claw some momentum back together, to climb some time back together, and try to put pressure on our man. But we know that Tween is capable of more than this. He knows that he's able to withstand the pressure and actually put in some really sick times. So I don't really have any fear for our man from Slovakia. Spam going for the relatively safe strat of really landing really on the top of each hill at each jump and going for the safer simple drift, whereas Tween will go for the 3rd jump strat and go straight toward and make a beeline towards the start finish line as they start the final lap of the race so far. Tween in 3rd place, Massa 4th place, Scrappy 5th place, Aurel in the lead in front of Spam. Matt with the fastest lap of the race so far, and that's could potentially be a new track record, and that's I think it is, with a 122.315. I'm gonna have to fact check on that, but it looks as though we got a new fastest lap. Aurel currently sitting comfortably in the lead. He's pretty much got nothing else to worry about right now than getting home and getting the points, 20 points home. Spam in 2nd place, 3.9 seconds down on Aurel. Then we find Tween and Masa in 3rd and 4th place. Masa currently sitting half a second behind Tween, and then we find Scrappy getting into the battle with Masa here. Hello, hello. Here comes the Belgian driver. He's gonna overtake Masa. He makes it stick for now, but look who it is. It is Pack, the 2016 TrackMania World Cup winner and a player for Molotovs and Marshmallows, overtaking both Masa and Scrappy to get up to 4th place. And that's actually going to be up to Tween to actually withstand the pressure as they go through the identity for the final time in the Grand League season. Meanwhile, Aurel going through the identity for the first time, or for this time. Aurel seems to have got this down pretty much, and he's gonna cross the line in 1st place and win the map. 20 points, and Tween gets a really dodgy line, and he's gonna take overtaken by everybody, and that's gonna drop him down to P7 just like that. That is exactly what we did not want to see happen, and unfortunately it happened. -4 places just like that. Aurel, Spam, Pack, Scrappy, Masa, Papu, Tween, Riolu, Bren, Kappa, Revolution, Mats, Coco, and Roland. Your final ranking as Roland will cross the identity. It seems as though he will have plenty of time to finish. He will even go for the safe strat to just safeguard the finish and not go home without any points. Or will he go home without any points? No, he will be able to get to the final jump and go for those points, 3 points for 14th place. So, the top 8 after map number 1 is Aurel 1st with 20 points, Spam 2nd with 14 points, Pack 3rd with 12 points, Scrappy 4th with 10 points, Masa 5th with 9 points, Papu 6th with 8 points, Tween 7th with 7 points, and Riolu 8th with 6 points. As we're gonna head into map number 2, which is going to be Zeppelin. The points guillotine from last week returns for one final time in the overall season, as we see that Papu still remains in the lead, and Aurel pulls a little bit away from Tween. Tween has actually been overtaken by Aurel as a result of that. Aurel on the 144 points is now sitting in 5th place, whereas Tween is down to 6th place with 136 in the overall ranking. Now then, you think this is a cool esport? Well, it is indeed a cool esport. It really is different from all the other racing games out there. It is a more arcadey approach. Anyways, thank you very much for the kind words. Gator is God, and now we're going to go on to map number 2, which is Zeppelin by MD Point. The points guillotine from last week where we saw Spam, Riolu, Masa, and many others lose their points. Fastest step of the race so far is Papu's with a 123.358 as of step number 5. And we're going to be pulling up the notes here. Zeppelin. So there are a few key parts to this. There's one key part to this aside from the identity, and there's going to be a little jump after the wall ride before CP number 5. As we're going to be specking Aurel here, or potentially Papu. Let's see if he actually plays the identity pretty well. So we're gonna go with this particular player. So you see there's a wall right here with a camera switch from the player's point of view, and there's gonna be a little jump. So 330 kilometers an hour for this jump. Go on the left side, get enough airtime to actually clear the gap here and make it to the other side and go full steam ahead. If you cannot make it through that, you're gonna have to respawn, go through the engine killer, and that could potentially use you the best part of 4 to 5 seconds, depending on how well you go through here. Then we have a little bit of a dirt part, people going sometimes for the wallbang, some other people going for the regular strat of actually making the dirt corner. And yeah, the wallbang actually yields between 2 to 3 tenths, depending on how well you can get it. Now we're gonna go through the identity with the first Zeppelin jump. Around the bubble, around the outside, get as much speed as you can. 290 kilometers an hour to accurate speed. Land on the blimp, then land onto this particular one. Do the Tony Hawk style transfer through the checkpoint, then dunk it onto the exit ramp. 260 kilometers an hour for the second Zeppelin jump here to actually land on the side, and then go for the final ramp landing to cross the start-finish line and start lap number 2. So then, map number 2 of step number 6 of the TrackMania Grand League will get underway as we're going to be checking in with our man Tween yet again. So far, Tween emerging a little bit in the lead group. It seems as though few mistakes, start maybe from Roland, who has already been pulled away by 3/10 of a second compared to the rest of the field. Masa, Tween, Bren, Revo, Riolu, we got a pretty good pack actually, pretty stacked pack so far for the beginning of lap number 1. Bren currently emerging in a little bit of the lead, but Revolution in hot pursuit, Tween in hot pursuit as well. It seems as though Tween will make short work of Revolution. Let's actually see how he does here. Yes, he will make it stick, and even menacing Bren right now. Bren currently in trouble as Tween will potentially seek to overtake him. Let's actually see. Yeah, the battle still remains raging. 1/100th of a second. Bren going for the wallbang, but Tween getting a pretty much picture perfect pretty much picture perfect dirt turn. That's going to allow him to pull in the lead 0.3 of a second in front of the rest of the pack. Revo, Matt, Scrappy, and Bren battling it out for P2 here. Then we got Matt's, Kappa in 6th place, Coco 7th, and Masa completes the top 8 so far. Let's actually check in on Tween as he goes through the entity for the first time. 260 kilometers an hour to get for the jump. Land on the blimp, then land onto this particular ramp, then the transfer on the checkpoint. Yes, it is actually pretty well done. Revolution going the other way around. The two ways are possible. And 260 kilometers an hour for this Zeppelin jump. Landing on the side, dropping down onto this ramp. Let's actually see, yeah, no full stop picking, and that's going to allow him to cross the line in the lead with the fastest lap so far with the 127.812. Kappa 2nd place, Brent 3rd, Mats 4th. We still got a pretty good battle raging, and we got Kappa regaining a little bit of form. Remember, this man is the Beta Season League champion and the 2018 TrackMania World Champion, so yeah, he's got pretty much a reputation to uphold. Running under the colors of Veloce Esports, a really well-known sim racing organization, most notably in charge of the Sauber Alfa Romeo F1 Esports team. But so far, Kappa seems to have made a little bit of a mistake, dropped a lot more momentum compared to the other guys, and got sit down in 7th place. Meanwhile, Tween remaining in the lead, 0.8 of a second already ahead of Bren. Meanwhile, we still got we got a really good battle actually going on in here for 3rd place between Matt and Masa, and Revo actually playing the Master of Ceremony here and potentially waiting for the other people to make a mistake and potentially reap the rewards. And it seems as though Matt has made that mistake first. He dropped more momentum than Revolution, and Revolution has passed him into 4th place. Let's actually go for the identity from the point of Scrappy, the man behind Matt. Oh, and Revolution again going for the other way around. Remember, the two ways are possible, as I pointed out earlier. People dunking it pretty much perfectly throughout this Tony Hawk's transfer. The Zeppelin jump perfectly negotiated by Tween, and that's going to be the 2nd lap for him on the books. 123.429. Not quite the fastest lap of the race so far, but still pretty decent pace from Tween as he holds the fastest man on track title so far. Bren 8/10 bound on him, then 6/10 further down we find Scrappy and Masa having a battle for 3rd place. Masa currently emerging slightly in the lead. Sorry for the music that's kind of cutting out. That's a Mania Planet bug, and I can't really do anything about it, but I hope you still enjoy the cast. Anyways, Scrappy and Masa again into this particular wall ride. Both people getting through clean. Tween again going through clean. 0.7 of a second between him and Bren. And then we see Aurel, the map winner who from StarCase, who tries to get back into their map, going for the wallbang, but he misses up the wallbang, and that's going to drop him down like a stone in the ranking, outside of the top 10 potentially. Yeah, outside of the top 10 as Riolu overtaken him. Matt down in 11th place. Meanwhile, Tween remaining cool, calm, and collected in the lead. This could actually be the first opportunity for him to score some big points and actually win himself $100. Yes, this is going to be the checker flag payday for Tween if he manages to keep up the pace. Remember, the winner of this map will actually get 100 euros directly sent to him. Well, directly sent to him after the competition is over. That's going to get that added to his prize pool, to his cash prize. Tween going with a bit of a higher, riskier line on the Zeppelin, but still managing to get it perfectly, and he's going to pull a gap of almost a second to Bren in 2nd place. Scrappy remaining in 3rd place. And meanwhile, Aurel and Masa having a battle of their own and trying to catch Scrappy together to get him in 3rd place. Tween with the fastest man on track so far with the 123.882. Thank you, by the way, Razor Pig, for the kind words. I really hope that you guys enjoy my casting and enjoy me trying to keep up the pace of TrackMania Stadium, which is a pretty rapid pace, I'm not gonna lie. Tween remaining in the lead, pretty confidently leading really convincingly here in this map. Then we find Bren 0.8 of a second down. Although he might be a little bit ways away, he's not putting up. He's not going down without a fight. The French player from Team Lunary, currently playing in Australia with a laptop, I must actually point out, he is currently sitting in a pretty good position and really looking to score 14 valuable points that could potentially help him on his way to go to the Lyon Esport playoffs. I'm so sorry for the notifications. That's the stream last one. I again forgot to disable it. I will try to disable it before we start the second half of the map. So, Tween remaining in the lead so far with a pretty good Zeppelin landing. It seems as though, meanwhile, further down the field, Scrappy and Masa are still battling it out together. That's actually further down the field. Rolling in definite last place, half a second behind the leader. Then we find Matt, then we find Coco, and Matt's actually a little bit further up ahead, battling it out with Riolu for 11th place. Remember, the top 8 does not get eliminated so far because this is only the first map, but it seems as though the points will not get there. And Papu will snatch the fastest lap of the race away from Tween with a 123.381. Papu reclaiming his title of fastest man of the map. The player from Gamers Origin, current leader in the standings with over 250 points. Meanwhile, Tween on the penultimate lap looking really confident, cool, calm, and collected as ever. Holding a 9/10 of a second gap between him and Bren. Massa in third place, battling it out with Scrappy, actually. Oh, and Massa clinching the inside wall, and he's going to get overtaken by 2 or 3 people. Scrappy getting by, Aurel getting by, Kappa getting by, and that's going to drop him down to 6th place just like that. Kappa currently sitting in 5th place, battling it out with Aurel for 4th place. It seems as though Aurel and Massa, Aurel and Kappa are going to have a really tight battle here in the next upcoming corner. So if you don't mind, we're going to stay on them for a little bit, at least until the identity, before we get back to our man Tween, who's going to be set to start the final lap of the race in the lead if everything remains that way. It seems as though Kappa has managed to make short work of Aurel and overtake him for P4, 1.8 seconds down on the leader. Meanwhile, Tween going through the identity, through the Tony Hawk transfer, dunk it on the exit ramp, just as intended, and Tween getting the almost the perfect Zeppelin jump for the penultimate time, and then he crosses the start line in 1st place for the final time. Final lap of the race. Bren 2nd place with 7/10 of a second of a gap between him and Bren. Then 7/10 further down we find Scrappy in 3rd place. Kappa in 4th place. Kappa trying to claw some gap back, trying to claw some pace back together and trying to catch Scrappy and potentially grab the points for 3rd place. Then Aurel just behind Kappa. Then Spam in 6th place. Pack in 7th place. Papu in 8th place with the 123.379, scrapping the fastest lap of the race again. Papu on fire in terms of lap times, but not so much in terms of position. He must have made a mistake earlier on that we didn't catch on camera. Meanwhile, Tween, as he goes to the dirt part for the final time, it's really cautious here, and he's maybe a little bit too cautious on the dirt part, and that's going to allow Brent to actually close the gap down to 4/10 of a second and even 3/10 of a second. Potentially, the $100 could be denied for Tween. Although that's a little bit of a side quest, it's still a little bit of a feel-good factor to win the map, and it seems as though, ooh, that's a really close approach to the wall from Tween. It seems as though he did not lose too much momentum, though. Let's actually see. Yeah, he did lose 0.04 of a second, but that's a bit marginal, as they are going to go through the identity for the final time in this map. Bren, ooh, with a really high line, really risky line through there by Bren. Tony Hawk transfer for Tween, negotiated perfectly, perfect landing. Let's actually go on to the second Zeppelin jump, the critical part. He gets it really well, and that's going to be $100. The checkered flag payday is going to go for Tween, €100 for him as he crosses the finish line as the winner of map number 2. Bren in 2nd, Kappa 3rd, Aurel 4th, Spam in 5th place, Pack 6th place, Revo 7th, Massa in 8th place, Revo 9th. Then we find Scrappy in 10th place. We didn't catch the mistake on camera, but he was actually dropped out of the top point scoring positions. Ryulu 11th, Matt in 12th place, and then we're going to find Rollin, who has actually not being able to score the identity. We're going to have 2 DNFs in the person of Rollin and Coco, who seemed to have retired a little bit earlier on, and I didn't catch that on camera. Again, I'm really sorry. I can't really catch everything, guys. I'm trying my best. Anyways, Tween with 27 points will move up to 2nd place in the standings, while Aurel with 10 points and to his credit will still remain in the lead of the step. So, Aurel 1st place with 30 points, then Tween 2nd place with 27 points, then in 3rd place we will find, let's see when the rankings get merged. So, Aurel 1st with 30 points, Tween 2nd with 27, Spam 3rd with 23, 4th is Pack with 20, Brent 5th with 19, Kappa 6th with 17, equal on 17 points is Papu in 7th place, and 8th place for Massa with 15 place. In the league ranking, Tween moves back up to 5th place, just 2 points in front of Aurel. Tween 156 and Aurel 154. Thank you very much, Dizzy. Thank you very much, July Onushua. And yeah, we're gonna go into map number 3, which is FreeSpirit, the map that was actually considered to be the easier map of the particular map pack from step number 5, with an identity that is actually pretty simple in comparison to the others, comprising of a simple booster engine killer and 2 slides, one around a small gap, one around a pole, and a simple booster to actually get up a hill with a certain speed to actually clear it. The fastest up of the race so far is held by Papu again with a 122.889. Papu was absolutely on fire on step number 5, it must be absolutely said. The first actually interest point of this particular map is going to be the first jump here. One with this one, wait, let's go. Okay, so this one, 300 kilometers an hour, then you see they rotate the car towards the right, as we see Roland failing miserably here. They're going to rotate towards the car towards the right just before they start the jump to actually get themselves in a position to actually initiate a slide upon landing to go as tight as possible in the right-hander into this particularly difficult tech complex before the dirt part, which we actually see right now. Now, this could play in the hands of really well-known dirt players. I'm talking about Papu, who has won the Gamers Assembly Dirt multiple times. I'm talking about RL. I'm talking about people like Matt, who is more of an expert in terms of LoL maps that do imply dirt in some point or another. Then, so yeah, we could see pretty much a diversity of skill set. I'm also talking about Bren, who is also pretty familiar with dirt. And we actually missed the identity as part of that, sorry guys, but you actually get the idea as we see Tween going AFK for a little bit here. And yeah, you can see that people clearing the, people are going to clear this particular one pretty easily. There's a bit of a set speed to actually clear, to actually get, you must be at around 155 kilometers an hour when you get to the end booster before the uphill, and at the exit of the booster you must have at least 270 kilometers an hour to actually clear the booster at speed. Anyways, map number 3 underway, and we're going to be checking in with our man Tween again. As the field gets underway pretty nice and tidy, again with lap number 1, it's always those kind of things where it is everything to play for, and the group remains about step, except for Roland, who made a mistake really early on. Roland really not feeling it throughout this entire league so far, it must be said. Although that might be a bit BMing, I'm not intending it to be, not gonna lie, but he's not really been able to perform all that well. So, back up in the front, Masa, Riolu, Kappa, Revolution, and Tween. Your top 5 so far. Coco in hot pursuit, Spam in hot pursuit. Then we find Scrappy, Matt, and Brand completing the top 10. Masa pulling a little bit ahead in the lead, but clinching the wall on the inside, and that's going to leave it to the Czechoslovakia duo of Kappa and Tween. I say duo, but now it's going to be a German Mr. Streamer himself who's actually going to disrupt the festivities, and Riolu taking over the lead, at least temporarily. The player from Northern DNB who had a nightmare step, scoring 3 points in step number 5 last week, trying to make up as much points as he can. Now there are going to be 2 schools of thought. You can see Kappa going for the respawn, whereas Riolu will go for the Neo, and it seems as though the Neo will pay out for Riolu as he will go through the identity, the fastest out of everyone, 160 kilometers an hour as they go through the booster, 275 and 76 kilometers an hour for Riolu as he exits it, and that's going to allow him to cross the start in the checkpoint in first place, regain the engine control of the engine first, as Masa joins him for the final turn across the final map, and that's going to be Masa who takes the lead, who takes the whole shot in lap number 1 with a 126.54 heat. He gets the fastest lap of the track so far, fastest lap of the race. Sorry. Matt is more like an RPG guy. Okay, sorry, I don't really know much about Matt. I do know about some of the bigger players, but most of the players I don't really know about them so much, so bear with me as I try to actually do my best with the limited knowledge that I do have of the scene. Anyway, oh, it seems, oh yeah, Bren, oof, I didn't see that on camera. Thank you for pointing it out, Yannick. Yes, Bren actually sitting in last place, 16nd down on the leader. Meanwhile, Tween is battling it up with Masa for the lead. Sorry for the quick jump back onto the camera. It seems as though maybe a failed identity or, yeah, it could have been a failed identity, maybe a bump on the Nara part after the booster that actually forced him to respawn, and we saw that Tween had a really weird slowdown here, and that's going to get him dropped down from 1st to 3rd, and Kappa also getting into the troublemaker zone, and yes, Kappa trying to disrupt Tween as much as he can, and potentially deny him 3rd place here. Meanwhile, Riolu and Masa, the German duo, Cupra 305 versus Mr. Streamer. It seems as though Masa has lost out a little bit on Riolu, as people will go for the, some people will go for Neo, some for the respawn. Riolu is going for the Neo. It seems as though Cupra 305 will remain behind Mr. Streamer right now, as Riolu crosses the checkpoint in 1st place, just in front of Masa, 4/10 in front of him. And they're gonna go for the final turn once again to start lap number 2, and the fastest lap of the race so far will be for Riolu with a 123.151. Remember, the fastest lap of the entire track is a 122.889 by Papu. Yes, Riolu, the fastest man on the track so far, remaining in the lead, 2/10 ahead of Masa. Tween, meanwhile, 8/10 further down. He's really looking to be pretty safe, pretty conservative about his scoring his points in those early maps. He doesn't really want to try anything crazy. He wants to really safeguard all those points. Try to make, and potentially try to wait for anybody's making a mistake, and try to take the opportunity to score a few extra points if someone actually drops out of the drops out of sight and allows him to get up a place or 2. Meanwhile, the German battle between Masa and Riolu. Masa from Berlin International Gaming from versus Riolu from Northern DNB, and Riolu has managed to overtake Masa into this corner, taking the lead temporarily, but Masa is not done yet. Riolu and Masa going for the Neo, whereas Tween will go for the Neo. Kappa will go for the respawn, which is essentially the Sora tactic, but is a much safer approach, as they will go through the identity once again. And it seems as though people will get it pretty much cleanly here. Oh, actually, as I look at the other big point scores, Scrappy currently finding himself in 12th place with 7 seconds down on the leader. Meanwhile, lap number 4 started for Riolu and the Peeps, 122.980 for Riolu, the fastest lap of the race so far, and Masa has made a mistake, clinched the outside wall, and gets overtaken by our man Tween for 2nd place. Fastest man on track so far. Riolu, as I said, with a 122.980, and we're less than 1/10 away from the lap record that was set last week. So yeah, looking pretty good here so far for Riolu, who wants to take revenge on last week and the poor 3 points that he scored on this particular step. Not that he has actually menaced or anything from actually moving up to the playoffs, currently sitting in 3rd place with 159 points. Oh, Tween clinching the outside wall twice. Oh, he almost flips over. He was almost forced to respawn, but that's gonna... That ain't it, Chief. That ain't it. He's gonna drop down to P9 as a result of that, and potentially to P10. Yes, Papu gets over, gets him on the dirt part. It was really, really close to actually being disaster for Tween. Maybe he could actually get, back up to back up into shape in the last 2 laps. But now, speaking about Masa, July, yes, that could be the big point scoring for Masa, but given the standing of the players and the overall ranking, I feel like maybe it's too little too late, as we saw Papu falling down the ravine and being forced to respawn. That's going to promote Tween automatically up to 9th place, and now his next target in sight will be Coco, 8/10 up the road. Meanwhile, Riolu starts the penultimate lap of the race with 8/10 of a second of a gap between him and Masa. Then 4/10 further down, we find Aurel from Team Gaming PV.com, the Frenchman, who is currently set to continue extending his lead with his 30 points so far. Scrappy with the fastest man on track title with a 123.283. Spam in 4th place so far. The Dutch driver from Diffuse Kids, 1.5 seconds down on the leader. Then Entes further down, we found Kappa and Pac. The 2018 World Champion and the Beta Season Champion versus the TrackMania World Cup 2016 Champion. Revo in 7, and then we got Tween in 8, who managed to get past Coco and actually get some 2 more points down the drain, 1 more point earlier. Will we get some Tween ASMR today? I will try to get them after the step is done to actually get some hot takes, and you will actually see his voice. You will not see his face, you will see his voice. I'm not going to tell you anything else on this particular one. We're going to get to that at the end of the step. But yes, we will get some ASMR. And Masa has made a mistake. I completely forgot about that. He fails the Neo. He's going to be forced to respawn, and he's going to drop out of the top 10 into the top 10 as well. Oh, man. Masa, as we said, just when we tried to say that this is going to be the big step for him, he completely chokes it. And that's going to drop him out of the top of the big point scoring. Luckily, this is map 3. If he does it on map 4, though, he's completely done. Fair to say. Meanwhile, Tween also clinching the outside while not having the best start of the lap. Meanwhile, Riolu currently starting the final lap in the lead. Tween was the fastest man on track as well with a 123.2120. So he was looking pretty good until he made that contact with the wall. That's going to drop him down to 2 seconds down on Revolution. Thankfully, he will only score he's only going to be scoring points here. Riolu, meanwhile, continuing to run at his pace, continuing to lead the race convincingly. Sid Stents in front of Aurel. Aurel also putting up a really good fight and actually remaining in the right butter zone of that top 3, top 4 placement. Currently looking set to score 14 points unless Riolu makes a slight mistake or gets a slowdown that could potentially allow Aurel to reap the rewards and score the full 20 points and the 100 euros supplementary. Remember, he already won in StarCase, so that could be 200 euros up in the bank for Aurel. Meanwhile, let's actually check in on Tween. Kappa going for the respawn, Revo for the respawn, Tween going for the Neo, and that's going to pay out. Oh, and actually getting a slowdown with a little bit of a bump here. And he's going to go through the identity. Let's actually see if he doesn't fail it. No, it should be clear for him. Meanwhile, we're going to get back on the leaders as Riolu is set to cross the start-finish line and win map number 3. 100 euros down the bank, on the bank for Riolu. First place for him, 2nd place for Aurel, Pac 3rd, Kappa 4th, Revo 5th, and Tween in 6th place. It seems as though Spam has made a mistake. We haven't seen that on camera as well. Spam throwing away valuable points that could have been such a relief for him. Meanwhile, yeah, fastest man on lap number 6 was Aurel with a 122.987. Not far away from snatching the fastest lap of the race, but still. Spam down in 13th place, pretty uncharacteristic. Scrappy 9th, Matt 10th, Roland 11th, Brent 12th, Spam 13th, and Papu will finish in 14th place after... I didn't see what actually happened, but we saw some pretty high-profile names going down the drain. Scrappy not having a really having a pretty uncharacteristic map with P9. Then we find Spam in 13th, Papu in 14th, Brent in 12th. Really uncharacteristic for those players to actually sit at the bottom like that. RL will remain in the lead with 34 points to his credit. Then we're going to find Ryulu with 13. Actually, Tween will get in the lead. Tween will get in the lead. 27 plus 8 equals 35. No, actually, RL with 44 points. Sorry, I miscalculated everything. RL first with 44. Tween second with 35. 32 points equal for Ryulu and Pac in third and fourth place. Then 27 points for Kappa in fifth. Spam sixth with 26. Brent 7th with 23, and completing the top 8 so far is Masa with 122 with 22 points in the step. Not 122, Jesus. Anyways, we are now reaching the halfway point, and we're gonna have a little 6-minute break. But before we actually get to the break, let's actually see how everything goes into the overall league ranking as of this particular map. Papu will remain in the lead with 266 points. Cartoon second with 194. Third is Ryulu with 191. RL moves up to 4th place with 168. Tween in remains in 5th place with 164. 1 point behind, then we find Scrappy, who moves down from 4th to 6th place with 163. Then Kappa in 7th place with 142. And 8th so far is Spam with 117. But look at this, only 13 points between Spam in 8th place and Brandon in 9. So everything is still to play for the final spots. So what we're gonna do here, let me just cut out the sound a little bit. So we got 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining until we go to the final part of this step and the final part of the season. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break of a few minutes, take the time for me to rehydrate myself, maybe to suss out a few technical issues if anything arises, and yes, we will be right back for maps 4, 5, and 6, the 3 final maps, the 3 final hurdles for our man Tween in step number 6 of the TMGL. Stay with us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with step number 6 of the TrackMania Grand League, and we're going to get into the money time, the final batch of maps, maps 4, 5, and 6. Now, I'm rejoining you with the live camera scene a little bit, and I mentioned that we would be able to see the voice of Tween. Now, let me show you what I am on about. So, once we will get actually a few words from Tween after the step is over, you will be able to see this. Yes, this is going to be the waveform. This is what I meant when you will be able to see his voice. You'll actually be able to see him talk live as we're going to be interviewing him at the end of the step. Anyways, this is going to be for a little bit later once the step is over. So then, we're going to get back into the game as there's only 37 seconds remaining on the break screen, and we're going to get into map number 4, which is going to be ControlTower by Firestorm. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing good over in Europe, America as well. I hope you guys are doing good for those that are actually dealing with the Sierra storm. I know that I currently am. Currently, the wind has slightly subsided. It has not affected my stream in any way. I only have a few drop frames, like 908 over the course of 1 hour, which is a pretty good track record. And yeah, everything is running as smooth as it could ever possibly be. And we're going to be heading into the game right now. Yes, here we are, ControlTower then, the map, the first map of the new batch. We're gonna get actually into the presentations as we're gonna go into the map itself. We're gonna go back with and turn up the volume a little bit on the cars. And yes, as I said, this is one of the new maps currently set, as we don't have any time set for now. You will see this graph, ControlTower by Firestorm, characterized with an identity that is a multiple pathway jump, and we're gonna get to that in a little bit. So, Tween, meanwhile, so you can see there's going to be the second drop down right here. People will rotate the car on the towards the right to actually set themselves up for a drift. And we got this tricky dirt part. Fling the car on the apex here, and then fling the car to the right, to the left apex after before the first bollard, and then catch as much speed as you can. 270 kilometers an hour is the butter zone to actually clear this hump a little bit here and clear the hole. Then we're gonna get into the remaining part of the map. Then we pull up the notes here. Then we got this jump with around 380 kilometers an hour required to make the jump. Rotate the car a little bit towards the right. Actually set up the car for the drift here. Tween going up beautifully and pulling out in the lead. Then we got this second jump, and then this turn is done full speed here. Around 400 kilometers an hour required for this jump clear. Pretty much perfectly done by Tween and Papu, who's currently battling it out for the lead. 1/10 of a second down on the 2. We find Brennan Pack battling it out. And we got the identity. You can see people rotating the car right, actually dropping a lot of momentum, going really far inside for this risky tight section. And then we're gonna go through the identity. You're gonna see people are gonna be catching speed and then releasing that speed before going for the jump, actually braking in the case of Tween, and go for that middle way here, the third way down. Bum, and actually as they drop down, rotate the car, clinch the curve, and clinch the engine killer, and go for this slide as they're gonna go back uphill to start the new lap. Tween so far with the fastest lap of the track with a 1:16.245, and he is in the lead, battling it out with Papu. Papu less than 1/10 of a second in front of Tween. Meanwhile, we see Pack in third place, 3/10 down. Then we got Kappa, Bren, Riolu, Spam, and Matt so far, your top 8. And Aurel, the steps leader, is currently sitting down in 12th place still. 1 second down on top 8, so everything can still happen in lap number 1. But still, this is not a good place to be for the GamingPredict.com driver. Meanwhile, Tween and Papu having their own race. Pack, Bren, and Riolu battling it out with each other for third place here. Let's actually see how everything goes for the British driver for Molotovs and Marshmallows, and he overtakes Bren potentially for P4. Yes, he does. He makes it second and potentially makes short for Riolu. Yes, he does. Oh, maybe not. Riolu has not said his last words. Bren clutching a bit of the wall, but doesn't drop any momentum as they're going to go through the identity for the second time here. We're going to follow Pack again as we see that Tween is right ahead of him. People will actually drop a lot of speed through here, and Pack will get it just, but Riolu has a pretty bad landing. That's going to allow Pack to overtake him, and Papu to fourth place. Kappa will be emerging in third place. The beta season league champion, Coco rolling behind. Yes, Seasons of Rolling is not really performing. Coco as well. Meanwhile, Aurel still remaining in that danger zone of bottom 8. 1/8 of a second down on the 8th place driver, currently Scrappy. Fastest lap of the race so far in the lap record held by Brad with a 1:13.526. Massa dead? Yes, Massa dead. I completely forgot about that. Spam currently in the danger zone as well. Massa completely dead. 14 seconds down on top 8. That could be the downfall for good. He will have to go into the combined match on March the 8th if that happens. Meanwhile, Tween as he is on lap number 3, will continue to lead this race convincingly. Bren in second place, Papu in third place. It seems as though the standings will remain pretty much the same. Sorry if I do miss any big information about any big actions in here. I'm trying to mostly focus on our man Tween, who is currently set in a pretty good position, but there's also plenty of big point scores that could potentially be set for disaster. Meanwhile, Tween will go through the identity and goes it perfectly. Brent perfectly as well. Papu having a bad landing, getting overtaken by Riolu Kappa. A lot of people actually. Papu dropping down to P7, and Pac has made a mistake as well. That's going to drop him out to outside of the top 8 and behind Aurel. So 32 points could potentially be down the drain for the British driver. Meanwhile, Aurel has made the junction on Spam, and there's going to be he's going to be the driver who's going to be having everything to lose here, and his spot. And not only his points, but potentially also his ticket for the playoffs at the Lyon Esport. Meanwhile, Riolu, the fastest man on track with a 1:13.652. Riolu currently sitting in 4th place, 1.5 seconds down on Tween, currently leading and battling it out with Kappa for 3rd place. Let's actually see you a bit further behind in the bottom 8. Aurel currently still chasing Spam, since 10ths of a second between the two drivers. Spam currently sitting in the hot seat, currently sitting in that 8th place. He must be absolutely everything. He must be absolutely going bananas right now. He's completely trying to go into berserk mode and try to get as much points as he can and try to save them as well. Meanwhile, as we reach towards the end of lap 4 and the 4th cross, identity, Tween remains in the lead, 1 second ahead of Bren. Then 6 tenths further down, we find Kappa. Let's actually see Tween going through that perfectly. Brent failing the identity. He's going to actually get back onto the further row, but he's going to drop out of the top 8. That's what Aurel just needed. 44 points for him. And now Pac also, actually Matt's also having failed. He's forced to respawn. That's going to allow Pac to scoot by him. Bye-bye. And Matt is now outside of the top 8 again. Brent has lost a lot on this identity. Clinched. Really face palming in the wall on between just underneath that just underneath the ramp, and actually landing on the bottom road, and that's not what you want to see. Tween with the fastest lap of the race and the new lap record so far with 1:13.503 and not 3:05 like the Massa Cupra. Anyways, Tween in the lead. Riolu 2.8 seconds in front of Tween. Tween has got a boulevard right now, and yeah, he can pretty much safe it in here, except if Riolu is trying to go absolutely god mode and try to climb as much as possible. Meanwhile, it seems as though we got a pretty good top 8 so far. Scrappy in 3rd place, 3.1 seconds down on the leader, and we got a pretty good battle between Spam and Papu. Papu trying to keep Spam away from his 5th place, and Spam trying to catch as much points as he can in 5th place. Meanwhile, Tween through the identity, it's pretty much picture perfect for the penultimate time, and we're going to cross the start-finish line on his side for the final time. Final lap of the race started for Tween. Riolu following 2.3 seconds down, then Scrappy 3rd, Kappa and Spam 4th and 5th, and actually Spam looking really, really good in here as well. Spam battling it out with Kappa. Kappa, as I said, Beta season league champion, 2018 TrackMania champion. Meanwhile, Spam, the 2012 world champion, winner of the ESWC, before the Carl Jr. phenomenon actually swept through for the remaining 3 years of ESWC. Spam battling it out with Kappa. Spam remaining in 4th place so far. Tween absolutely killing it with a 1:13.860 on lap number 5. Fastest man on the track so far, and still holder of the lap record. I don't know if he's going to be actually getting challenged here for those honors. We'll have to see how everything goes in terms of their competitors. Meanwhile, Riolu 1.5 seconds down on the leader. Tween, Scrappy in 3rd place, Kappa and Spam still battling it out for 4th place. Then we found Papu in hot pursuit as well, trying to make it a 3-way battle for 4th place. Aurel in P7 and Pac in P8, remaining pretty safe as Bren is 4.5 seconds down on Pac, who's currently the remaining hot seat driver in 8th place. And yeah, that's going to be 23 points down the drain for him. 22 for Massa, currently sitting in 14th place. And the final identity cleared perfectly for Tween, who goes for another 100 euros and 20 points into the bank. Tween, winner of map number 4. Scrappy in 2nd place, Riolu 3rd place, Kappa 4th, Spam in 5th place, Papu 6th, Aurel 7th, and Pac in P8. Bren will finish in P9, Matt in the top 10. Then we're going to get into the people that are going to be far behind. We're going to get into Coco, who will cross the identity for the final time and finish in 11th place. Then we find Revolution in 12th place. Scrappy with a 1:13.954 was the fastest man on lap number 6. Bravo in 12th place. Roland in 13th place, who will be able to finish just barely, and Massa will not be able to finish in any way. And actually, Rolling will not cross. Yes, he will cross the finish line. And actually, 22 points for Tween. He got the 2 points that come with the fastest snipe. And cashing in for Tween, 200 bucks for him. Well, 200 euros. So that's going to be 25 bucks for him. So 22 points for Tween, who scores big points. But Morel will remain in the lead, if I'm not mistaken. No, he will not remain in the lead. We're going to have a lead change here. Hello. And Tween will get in the lead with 57 points. RL dumps down to second place with 51. Rio third with 44. Pack fourth with 38. Kappa 5th with 37, Spam 6th with 35, Scrappy 7 with 34, and Papu 8th with 28. 13th place. Yeah, I know, Jizzy. I do have a funny pronunciation. Did Rolling ever have a top 8? No, I don't think so, iWing. I don't think he actually had a top 8. Yes, Tween is exceptionally deadly, especially when it comes to tech maps, and it seems as though we got more and more techie maps as the step goes. Anyway, map number 5 is going to be ChillShake, the second map of the entire league ranking for the league ranking. Yeah, league ranking so far. Papu remaining in first place with 274 points. Riolu moves up to second with 203 points. Carl Jr. starting to drop down. 194 points for him in third place. Tween moves up to fourth place with 186. It could potentially bump down Carl Jr. even further. Scrappy fifth with 177. RL's sixth, 2 points behind. Then Kappa in 7th with 152, and 8th is Spam with 126, and Spam is looking increasingly safer as Pack is currently sitting in 9th with 88 points. So, map number 5, which is going to be ChillShake. So, this map is characterized, has the honors of being only the second map of the entire league ranking of the entire Grand League series of using an identity comprised of a no-grip block. This is a map again made by Firestorm, one of the map makers that has made the most maps, particularly the map maker that has made pretty much the entire catalog of the Grand League map pack, except maybe for Firestorm, and there are going to be plenty of interesting points to actually discuss throughout the first lap as they're going to go through the identity. There's actually a pretty good speed, 310 kilometers an hour as they go through the booster and go towards the left side and negotiate those bumps really nicely, trying to land really cleanly through here and then go through the engine killer as fast as they can to cross the start finish line and go into the second lap. So, currently Tween in the lead is the step with 57 points, Orel second with 51, Riolu third with 44, Pack fourth with 38, and Kappa fifth with 27. Could please be speedy, Tween. Go Tween in chat. Make sure to actually spam this to actually show him your support and give him a little heart on here. We got 2 hearts so far. Let's actually make the hearts even more present. So then, on to ChillShake. Pre-CP2 jump. There's actually a jump that's going to be possible 2 ways. You can do the corner safely, or you can go for the jump, which is potentially going to be Tween to go. Yeah, Tween will go for the jump, and will fail it right away. No, that's not what we want to see right now. Well, lap number 1 and the mistake is already done. The damage is already done for Tween, I think. Yes, 5 seconds down on top 8. That's not what we want to see. Anyways, there's actually a jump that you could potentially do. Meanwhile, we're going to focus on the other guys. Scrappy in the lead in front of Coco, Revolution, Spam, and Pack. That's not exactly what we wanted to see from Tween. Yes, he's currently 11 seconds down. Yeah, he's not having the best map of his life. It seems as though this could potentially be the cornerstone step in terms of the overall ranking. This is actually really bad news bears for Tween. Well, although it's only lap 1, guys. Remember, lap 1 out of 6. There could still be plenty of mistakes coming, and there will be coming as we go through one of the choke points of this map, which is this particular set of half loops with one of the pinch roads between the 2 loops, and we see already Bren failing that entry quite well. Then we're going to go through the identity from the point of Papu Orel in the lead. Then we see Scrappy and Revel in second place. In the third place, and we see that's actually Papu not having the best identity so far, dropping down to P7, Pack down to P9, and Pack could potentially be set to lose 38 points so far as the lap number 2. Orel with the fastest lap of the race in the new lap record so far with 107.248. This identity is absolutely key. You're absolutely right, July Onshua. So then there's going to be, so you saw that, we briefly saw the jump. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. There's going to be a drop down actually coming up with a little bit of a rotation of the car towards the left, landing on the blue part, and yeah, using the grass to make small correction. Then the CP9 to 10 turn, 350 kilometers an hour in a long full speed turn. Then the CP9 drop, air brake, no air brake for RL, and then we're gonna get this half loops. Go on the left side of the road and then land on the right side, and make sure to avoid those sidewalls in the pinch road. And then we're gonna go through the identity. Tween getting 2 seconds, and remember there's Bren also up the road, so yeah. everything could still happen, and anything can happen in TrackMania, and usually does, so we'll have to see how everything goes for all of these players. And Scrappy actually having a really bad identity here, and he's going to be forced to respawn potentially, though. He's going to be able to cross, but he will drop a lot of time outside of the top 8 for him, and that's going to be 34 points potentially down the drain. Aurel with the fastest up of the race, and the new track record so far with 1:07.652. Tween remaining in 10th and 14th place, 11 seconds down on top 8. This is not chances are looking pretty grim at the moment, even though we must not lose any faith in Tween's ability to potentially bounce back. Although he could potentially bounce back on map 6, he could potentially still bag a few points there. Let's actually hope he manages to safeguard and to actually catch as many points as possible. Rolling currently sitting in the top 8, currently in the hot seat, 1.1 second in front of Revolution, although that will not likely last for long. Aurel remaining in the lead, 0.8 of a second in front of Riolu. Then we find Spam in 3rd place, actually battling it out with Kappa. Spam and Kappa again battling it out with each other for 3rd place. Then we find Matt a little bit further behind, 1.5 seconds down on these two guys. Then actually 1.8 second down on them. We find 1.4 second down on him. We find Papu, and yeah, I know, rolling top 8. I know, right? And yeah, Papu rolling, actually having made a Revo made a big mistake, and that's gonna drop him down in last place. So Tween back up to 13, but that's a meager consolation for him, as he will remain in that dropout zone. Meanwhile, Scrappy having managed to overtake a few people here, but gets overtaken as soon as possible by both Massa and Coco. Aurel again with the fastest up of the race so far in the track record with a 1:07.300. Scrappy clutching the wall at the jump here. It seems as though that first jump was really the key here. That really unraveled everything for Tween. Let's actually hope this will not cost him his ticket to the Leo Esport. We're gonna have to see the league ranking after that. Meanwhile, in the lead, Aurel remains calm and collected, 0.6 of a second in front of Riolu. Kappa 3rd. And Spam has made a mistake, and he's outside of that top 3 battle here. Currently sitting in 6th place, 5.1 seconds down on the leader. Pack in 5th place. Matt in 4th place. This could be actually the big step up for the Space Station Gaming player. Currently sitting in 4th place, potentially looking set to score 10 points. Let's actually see him through the identity. Let's actually see how everything goes. Pretty much perfectly negotiated by Matt, getting as much speed as possible. 325 in terms of speed here for Matt as he climbs back up into the top 3 battle, and Kappa going for the safe strat, and actually Kappa dropping out in favor of Matt. Matt negotiating the jump perfectly, moving up to 3rd place, but Kappa has more momentum than Matt onto the jerk jump. 350 kilometers an hour needed to clear that jump and rotate the car into this Pack, the fastest man on track, as the lap number 4 with a 1:07.817. Pack currently remaining in 5th place with 38 points and still looking pretty good in here. Meanwhile, Tween has dropped down to last place, and I think it is pretty much going to be game over for these 57-point scoring. I'm really sorry to all of the fans out there. I didn't want to jinx it. Spam currently remaining in P7. Remember, Spam is again one of the direct threats of Tween in terms of actually denying him his spot in Leo. Papu has dropped down, made a mistake, dropped down a lot of momentum, and he drops down behind Spam, so Spam currently remaining in safe place. Meanwhile, Aurel going through that identity for the 5th and penultimate time. Negotiating, really risky landing. Not the best identity we've seen so far. We've seen that Mac could pull 325 as he crossed the engine killer. Riolu remaining in 2nd place. Matt in 3rd place and battling it out with Riolu for the top honors. And Kappa also getting into the race as well. And both Riolu and Matt going for the jump, while Kappa will go for the safer strat that is going to drop him out of this battle temporarily. Pack in 5th place, Spam in 6th place, Brennan Papu in 7th and 8th place. Scrappy with the fastest stuff of the race so far, a new track record with a 1:07.615 as we go onto the final lap. Scrappy set to lose 34 points as well, so the order is still going to shake up a little bit as of map number 5. Meanwhile, Aurel remaining in the lead, Papu and Riolu and Matt remaining in that locked battle for 2nd place. Matt having the advantage, but actually Riolu with a bit more momentum. He's going to have much more momentum in this corner, and that's going to allow him to get overtaken into 2nd place. Then that's going to demote Matt down to 3rd place. Kappa will be in hot pursuit, trying to get as much points as he can. Currently sitting in 4th place, Pack in 5th, Spam in 6th, Brent 7th, Papu 8th. The remaining top 8 will remain safe as Aurel will go through the identity for one final time and bag his 3rd map win of the night. Yes, he does, and that's going to be 100 euros more for Aurel. 1st place for him, Riolu 2nd, Kappa 3rd, Matt 4th, Pack in 5th place. Then we're going to find Spam in 6th place, Papu, Bren in 7th place. Yeah, Bren in 7th place, Papu in 8th place, and then we're going to find Massa, who has actually been forced to respawn. Strappy in P9. Revo P10. Kappa, the fastest man on track with a 107.517 as of lap number 6. Massa, 11th place. Roland will cross the line in 12th place. And both Coco and Tween will not score any points as they will not be able to cross the start finish line. Yes, actually, no, Tween will be able to make it. Whew. Thank God. I thought both Coco and Tween will not be able to actually make it, but they were able. Meanwhile, Aurel will comfort his lead as such with a 71-point tally. And yes, we're going to see quite a bit of an order shuffle here as we're gonna go into this particular ranking. So Aurel first with 71 points, then in second place we're gonna find Riolu, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Riolu second with 58 points. Kappa third with 49. Pack fourth with 47. Spam fifth with 43. Papu sixth with 34. Matt seventh with 15, and Bren in 12th place with 8th place with 12 points. Tween down to 14th place with 3 points. And that's actually see he's in the danger. He's actually dropping down to 8th place, but there's still quite a bit of a buffer between him and Pack. 35 points between the two drivers as we're gonna head into the final map, which is gonna be SkyEuro. Yes, you're right, Julie Onoshuha. The fun begins here. And thank you, and Smite is fun, I know. It's one of those games where it's easy to pick up and hard to master. That's actually been the leitmotif for TrackMania pretty much for years at this point. So, map number 6 is going to be SkyEuro, comprising of an uphill slalom between holes. No new lap record so far. We have a new map again, and this one is made by Nadeo themselves. And we're gonna get to start with the CP2 jump. So there's gonna be a pretty set speed to clear, 300 kilometers an hour, and release as much speed as you can. Keep the car low to avoid clinching the checkpoint on the top to actually land your car pretty much perfectly in here. Then there's gonna be this CP4 turn here. Get on the right side of the banking to actually turn the position of the car, to rotate the car right on the drop down to use the transition. Then we're gonna get into this CP jump right here. Now, there's actually an alternative strat where you can potentially wall bank onto this corner right here, which just passed right by us, but that will not be able to be done in the playoffs, as wall banks in the playoffs are not allowed. Then we got this drop down, air braking at every single stair. Right there, right now, there we go. Then we're going to go into the underground part, around 300 kilometers an hour for them. And people will actually try to take advantage of being able to go around the inside on the dirt to get the car a little bit better of an angle before they actually get back. Then their little jump over here, then into this small dirt part. Then we're going to get to one of the other cornerstones of this map, which is CP13, which is comprised of a long triple apex right-hander with a really long drift right here, starting right now. 1, 2, 3, and actually a much so triple drift. And snap the car right towards the left in the identity, around 400 kilometers an hour before they start crossing it. Then brake almost immediately and time your inputs really well. You can see this identity is going to be even more key than the last one. You can see that any mistake in the inputs is going to cost dearly for any of the drivers. The optimal exit speed is around about 200 kilometers an hour in here. Final map of step number 8. The final hurdle to clear for Tween. Go Tween, spam go Tweens in chat. This is your moment, guys. This is your moment to show him your support as he gets closer and closer to potentially secure himself a spot in Lyon. And that's not really what we wanted to see so far. It's not the biggest topic of the life, of our life that we've seen so far, but still not what we wanted to see. 1 second down already on top 8, and that's not exactly what we want to see. Oh, the caster's curse, Jesus. Kappa in the lead so far as they're gonna go for the first jump, and we'll see that Kappa has failed it as well. No, it's not Kappa, it's actually Bren who made it. No, Spam. Spam has made the mistake, and that's gonna drop him out of the contention. And Aurel currently remaining in the butter zone so far, but remember, this is lap number 1. Everything can still happen. Riolu and Aurel battling it out for P7, and meanwhile Kappa remaining in the lead, battling it out with Scrappy and Pack getting into the mix as well. That could potentially be some big point score for the Molotovs and Marshmallows player, although in this current state it doesn't look as likely as it was to actually go through to the playoffs in Lyon. It seems as though it will need a miracle to actually get there, but a miracle cannot happen this late in the step. Now to the triple apex and Pack fails it way. He got in really too early there as they go into the identity for the first time this season. That's actually C negotiating perfectly. Scrappy not having enough momentum, and he's going to drop down to 6th place, Riolu in 5th place, and we see that Roland has made a mistake again. We're going to see back to the old ways of Roland outside of the top 8. Kappa with the first track record with a 123.623. Who's going to lose points now? Yeah. Maybe caster skirts is a thing after all. It seems as though it has come back, and yeah. Spam currently sitting in P9, just 1/10 of a second behind Papu. Papu going for a wider line. Let's actually see the jump. people clearing it perfectly. Let's actually see if anybody failed it. No, it seems as though we got pretty clear, but Tween remaining in last place, although at this point it may not matter, as Tween is still relatively safe in the league rankings. And remember that players do have a joker. The worst step in every player's book, in every player's record, is going to get discounted from the overall ranking. So yeah, that's still be the playoffs for him regardless. Meanwhile, Matt in 6th place, battling it out with Spam. Spam looking to safeguard those 53 points, 43 points he has. Matt has 15. The Space Station Gaming player still looking to score some pretty big points. Meanwhile, Kappa in the lead with 49 points. Brendan in 2nd place. Masa in 3rd place. Strappy in 4th as we're going to go through identity for the 2nd time in this step. Masa going for the drifting, clipping the inside of the wall, and that's going to drop him out of top 7. Masa into the top 8, into the butters, and he's outside of the top 8. Aurel moves up into 8th place. Riolu in 7th place with 58 points. Pack 6th place with 47 points. Brent with the fastest stop of the race so far with a 20.918. The Darecaster score strikes again for Masa, who's going to be losing out again on the top 8 place. Brand has emerged in the lead and has overtaken Kappa, who must have made a mistake. And yeah, the Lunary player could potentially score some big points and potentially a map win if everything goes well. Currently holding the fastest up of the race so far. The track record is incidentally as of lap number 2 with a 120.918. Let's see where Tween is. Tween currently sitting in 13th place, 7.6 seconds down on the top 8 scoring place. But as I said, it may not matter, as this this step will potentially get erased as he gets to get the Joker. Ren remaining in the lead, 1.4 seconds ahead of Kappa. Then 6 stands further down, we found Scrappy in 3rd place, battling it out with Spam, and Pack a little bit further behind, trying to play the waiting game. And Papu actually hot on his heels. Let's actually see if Papu can make anything about this and overtake Pack. Seems as though everything's still going smoothly. Let's actually move up with Scrappy and Spam as they're gonna go through the identity. Let's actually see Spam. Ooh, that was really close for him, but he manages to get through perfectly and remain in 3rd place and overtake Scrappy for 3rd place actually. Kappa in 2nd place, Bren remaining in the lead with still the fastest lap to boot. 1 second ahead of Kappa. Spam being the fastest man on track with a 120.493, only 25 thousandths of a second behind the lap record held by Brand with a 120.918. Tween back up to 11th place. It seems as though Matt and Revo have made big mistakes. We didn't actually completely miss that on camera, but Matt has made a mistake. He was battling in the top 8. He will lose those 15 points pretty much surely, as he's currently sitting 14 seconds down on the 1st place, on the 8th place driver. Tween missing the jump again here before that CP number 7. Checkpoint number 8. Let's see the staircase on this one. Tween air braking at every single step. Masa dropping out of the top 8, now down to P9. 2.4 seconds for him down on RL, who's currently sitting in the hot seat. I know, lap 4, everything can still happen. 2.6 seconds. A single mistake by RL or a single medium mistake by RL could potentially put him in jeopardy of actually winning his step. Meanwhile, Kappa remaining in the lead. Spam in 2nd place. 8 tenths down on the Czech driver, and Scrappy having much more speed, going for a much riskier line and getting 190 kilometers an hour at the exit, and that's going to be allowing him to get into 1st place. And yeah, Brent made a mistake when we missed that on camera. Aurel getting through, and actually Brent drops out of the top 8 as well. He's dropped down behind Revolution. He's down in 13th place. What happened to him? We completely missed that. Scrappy with the fastest man on track so far with a 120.977, thanks to that really beautifully made identity for the Belgian driver. Meanwhile, let's actually see in the jump, Spam trying to overtake Pack for 3rd place. Pack going for the jump. Pack lands it perfectly on the penultimate lap of this race. So as a result of Brent's mistake, Tween back up to 10th, even overtaking Matt. 4.8 seconds down, 4.6 seconds down on the... he's gonna fall out. He's gonna be forced to respawn, and that's gonna drop him down a few places. So then, Kappa in the lead, remaining 6 tenths in front of Scrappy. Then we got 2 seconds on the leader, Spam in 3rd place. Then Pack 8 tenths further down. Riolu in 5th place. Papu in 6th place, 5.1 seconds behind the leader. And then we find Aurel in 7th place, and Masa back up to 8th place. The Cupra 305 man with 4 points only to his credit will potentially keep those 4 points. Meanwhile, let's actually check in back on the leaders. Scrappy and Kappa, 7 tenths of a second between the two. Let's actually see the identity, how everything goes for these guys. Kappa with a much slower line. a much slower and much safer approach compared to Scrappy. That's going to allow him to close some gap maybe. Oh, actually, no. The gap has widened slightly between Kappa and Scrappy. Still 7/10 of a second, and still the fastest step remains for Bren with a 120 points. Actually, Massa snatching the fastest step of the race as we speak with a 120.626 and a new track record for the Berlin International Gaming driver, and 2 potential extra points in the bank for Massa. And it seems as though Bren and Matt are really out of the race so far. And yeah, as we end into the final map, that's going to be 15 and 12 points down the drain for these guys. As Kappa, the playoff, the Beta League champ, the Beta Season League champion, and 2018 World Champion, Team World Champion, crosses into the final map, into the second part of the map for the final time in this step, and potentially secure some big, valuable points to finally secure his step. Pack is into the playoff anyway, as long as Spam doesn't fail. Well, even if Spam failed, oh, actually, no, you're right. If Spam does fail, he could potentially get, Pack could potentially get a slot in there. So it's all down to Spam, as he gonna go through the identity for the final time. Meanwhile, Kappa and Scrappy will battle it out for the lead, and we're gonna check in with the Dutch driver from Team Diffuse Kids, and Kappa will cross the line in first place, win the map, 100 euros from him. Scrappy in second place, Pack in third, and Spam in fourth place, Papu in fifth place. Then we're gonna find Riolu in sixth place. Massa is dropped down. Massa dropped down again. Unbelievable. Aurel will cross in P7 and Roland in P8. Rolling in the top 8 for first time in the final time in this Grand League series. Revolution will cross into the top 9. Tween in top 10. Bren 11th place. Massa 12th place. Coco, and no, actually Matt in 13th place. So Coco will cross the line slowly but surely. He's gonna crawl over the line in 14th position, 10 kilometers an hour. Is he gonna stop before the finish line? He stops before the finish line. He's not gonna score any points. Unbelievable. What is that? I have never seen that in anything in my life. Can we get some Fs for Coco, who will not score anything as a result of that? And so we're gonna get the full step rankings as of a few minutes, and Aurel will win it with 78 points to his credit, and 3 map wins, 300 euros collected throughout this step for him. Tween has not been really gifted this step, so Aurel first with 78, Kappa second with 69, third Riolu with 66, fourth Pack with 59, fifth Spam with 53, 6th Papa with 43, Scrappy 7th with 21, and Roland 8th place with 10 points. Unbelievable scenes. Who would have thought of that? I know Tween may not have been gifted this step, especially with map number 5 and 6, but he still managed to back 200 euros for himself as he won both maps 2 and 4. And now into the final league ranking. The final ranking for this Grand League season. Papu will win the overall season with 289 points to his credit. Riolu moves up to second place with 225 points. Aurel moves up into the top 3 with 202 points. ControlTower gets bumped down to 4 with 194, but it will still remain into the playoffs at the Lyon Esport. Kappa in 5th place with 184. 6th place for Scrappy with 164. Spam in 7th place with 144, and Tween remains in 8th place with 136. It was looking really, really hot and spicy in this one, but he has still done it. He is still qualified for the Grand League playoffs happening at the Lyon Esport on February the 28th. And we're gonna have to go through the bottom 8, which are gonna have to go through the combined match in March 7th and 8th. Pack 9th with 109 points. He gave it his best shot, but he is not able to make it. Where's Reddles? Reynolds is not here. He's not wrong. Where's Reynolds? Where's Gyro? Where's AJ, you might ask? Well, they're not here. That was yesterday. And by the way, congratulations on the Knights for that reverse sweep on the opening weekend of the Rocket League Championship Series. Then we got Bren in 10th place with 85 points. Matt in 11th place with 62 points. Massa 12th with 43. Revolution 13th with 36. Coco 14th with 33. Marcin 15th with 25. And Roland completes the rankings with 23 points. Yeah, that was a wrong game, Emmanuel the Freestyle. That was yesterday at the opening weekend, and congratulations yet again for the Knights on their win. So, league season done. We're gonna get try to get a word from Tween in just a second. Let's actually see if we can actually reach out to him. All right, I'm just messaging Tween here. Yes, okay, we're gonna get word from Tween here in just a second, and that's actually the good time to actually activate the waveform. Hello, Tween! I know this wasn't really the step that you were hoping for, but still, congratulations on actually making it to the playoffs in Lyon.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, we got you. Anyways, again, as I said, the step wasn't really the one you were hoping for, especially in terms of point scoring, but you still did really well. You were selling dreams to pretty much everybody throughout the map, throughout the first 4 maps at least, with 2 map wins to your credit and 200 euros in the bank, and most importantly, that playoff spot in Lyon. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So yeah, I mean the last 2 maps were kind of shameful for me, especially because I did a lot of calculations going into the match, you know. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I saw Brand losing points, I knew that I'm in.
Oh yeah,
that was it. I was really excited, and I was just, you know, I lost concentration at the most unfortunate spot, you know, because when you get into a map, then you stop making really cheap mistakes. But at this point, I wasn't really into the map yet, so I crashed in like the first 20 seconds, and it went downhill from there. But anyway, I was just like, then I just took my time and finished the match.
Yeah, you were kind of playing the mathematician game. You were like, okay, if that player drops out with the amount of points they actually collected, I'm definitely in. If Spam drops out, I could potentially be in. And were you actually in any way threatened by some of the other players? Were you threatened by people like Aurel or potentially Bren or Pack, who actually gave it his all in this particular step?
Honestly, I was just watching, especially Bren and Pack.
Okay.
As for others, I tried to keep them behind me, but if I was like in first place and I was well, that happened on the map Zeppelin, I actually was just slightly ahead of Bren there, and if it was someone else, I would have no problem with just, you know, slowing down a little and maybe even risk getting second, but you know, like just get it done, you know.
Yeah.
But when I saw Bren behind me, I was like, nah, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna take first.
Yeah, so the final regular season is done. How are you actually looking back on your performance? What are actually your standouts for it? What are you looking to improve for potentially the playoffs and next season in the summer? And what's your overall feeling after all the 6 steps of this season?
So every step was a story of its own, honestly. Especially at the beginning, I was a lot more nervous. It's especially when you know that something really bad can happen in a second, and yet you're not used to it. Yeah. So let's say the first 3 steps, I was really maybe too shaky, too nervous to secure the points, you know. But in the 4th and 5th step, I was really feeling it like, I'm used to it now. I know I can push it hard on these maps, so let's do it this time. And I knew that the story of the season will be try to get a big break. You know, that's all that really counts. If you miss, that's okay. But eventually, you're going to run out of attempts. You know, so I think I'm very thankful that I was never impacted by anything technical, really. Maybe except for like one thing, but that was partly my fault on step 2. So yeah, especially today, you know, there's this big storm coming, and it's just really unfortunate that.
Yeah, I was actually checking the weather on over on your side to make sure that SkyEuro wasn't actually affecting you in any way. It seemed that you were having it a little bit better than us over in France, because it's actually because it has actually a plan to actually blow pretty hard. We're talking like 100 km/h speed, wind speeds and stuff like that. So thankfully, I haven't had any technical issue on the casting part. The internet didn't go down, so yeah. Everything ran as smooth as silk. All the scene ran perfectly. Everything ran absolutely smooth. And yeah, it was absolutely a blast cast you across step 5 last week and this particular step, even though that wasn't really the results you were potentially hoping for in this particular point scoring. But yeah, I mean, now there's only one thing left. Rock off the playoffs.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'll just say that the the way that I crumbled on the last two maps, that was really not well played from my side, especially mentally, you know. I got a little carried away, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that you were actually trying to go for the jump at the start of ChillShake, and it seemed that that simple mistake really did the damage on your actual mindset. You were really in there, especially after maps 2 and 3. You were actually able to score some big points. And map 4, who you actually managed to get the full sweep, the map win, and the fastest lap. And then that simple mistake on the jump actually completely wrecked your mindset. I think that's what did it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like in this game mode, you really don't have time to, you know, get your mind back together. There's no break. So when you're in the laps, then you're just and you lose hope basically.
Yeah,
as I did on map 5. You just start crumbling terribly and.
Yeah, you don't have the chance to actually get a mental reset, and you just do not have the time, given the 90-second warm-up that happens as soon as the map switches. That kind of mindset continues to linger on.
Exactly. So, yeah, in the next season, I'm definitely going to be thinking about that, like to maybe not get carried away when things are going too well. That's something that's... that can happen in this game mode, and you just start being more shaky and more out of it. And especially now that it kind of cost me going into the playoffs, I'll be honest.
Yeah, true. Now, as I said, anything can happen in TrackMania, and it usually does. So everybody's gonna have their turn at some point. It seems as though it was your turn in this step, but still, it didn't really dampen anything in the celebration that. You finally made it. You are getting your ticket to Lyon, and I can't wait to see you on the 28th to see what you can do.
I'm so hyped for that, really. This was my goal for today, and I wasn't anticipating anything more. Like, the 2 map wins are a nice bonus, and...
well, nothing against the cheeky payday, right?
The cheeky what? Sorry?
The cheeky payday for you. Nothing against it, right?
Yeah, true. I didn't expect that, honestly. This was my personal best on map 4, and on map 2 I played it only this morning, so I wasn't really expecting to do too well. But at the same time, my mindset going into it was like, let's take those map wins because the others are going to miss them, not me, you know? Like,
yeah,
just deny them points.
Yeah, deny the big point scorers. Anyways, I think that's good. Pretty much going to be a wrap-up for me. I don't really have anything else to ask and anything else to say other than congratulations again for making it to the playoffs, and I can't wait to see you at the Lyon Esports.
See you there. Thank you for the cast.
Thank you very much for playing. That was a blast.
Bye-bye.
See ya. And that, my friends, concludes the regular season of the TrackMania Grand League. I hope you guys had as much fun watching it across the various streams, across the various different languages that were offered, and you had fun watching it over on this channel across the various different casters, from people like me who came in a little bit last minute, a little bit on short notice, and other people such as most notably Garrett Bambro and Zappas and Zapman, aka Steven Zappas. Anyways, that's pretty much gonna be it for me on terms of the casting. The next step is gonna be the Lyon Esports at Lyon, on February the 28th, and I don't have any info if there's gonna be an international cast for that, but well, we will keep you updated on the matter. Anyways, we're gonna end with a little bit of a tradition on my stream. Home Before the Night, the song to end it all. So, thank you very much for watching the Step 6 of TrackMania Grand League, the final step where Tween finally secured his spot in the Lyon playoffs. I would like to thank a bunch of people here. I would first like to thank again the FreeSpirit Knights for allowing me to cast this step in step number 5. I will also like to thank their sponsors, HyperX, Smile Direct Club, and Sheets. I would also like to thank Garrett Bambro for actually giving me the opportunity to cast the final 2 steps of the TMGL. I would like to thank Kate, the 3 AM musician, the moderator, and Marco for giving me a few assets and hooking me up with the stream setup. And I would like to thank a few other people. First of all, Berto for actually notifying me of the cast opportunity for Step 5. And I would like to thank someone who never stopped believing in me, Eric Holdal, who considers me as one of the most underrated casters in TrackMania. I know that's a bit of a pompous title, but that's how he puts it. So, I would like to thank those people so much, and I would like to thank you once again for watching. You are incredible, and nothing of this would happen without you. Anyways, that's gonna be it for me. I'm gonna take it offline for one final time, so thank you guys again so much for watching, and for those of you over on my stream again, I will see you all next time. Godspeed, people!